Today on the podcast, we take a look at the Avengers Infinity War, a movie directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, written by Christopher Markus and Stephen McFeely, starring Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Don Cheadle, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tom Holland, Chadwick Boseman, Zoe Saldana, Chris Pratt, and a whole host of others. Welcome to He Said, She Said Movie Reviews. This is the podcast where a happily married couple with different opinions take a quick look at movies. I'm your host, Tim.
And I'm April.
Welcome to another episode. Today we look at the movie The Avengers Infinity War. The first trailer we saw with this movie was Replicas. This is the newest Keanu Reeves movie. The trailer actually looks really good. It's about a man who loses his family. He's some kind of scientist / doctor who loses his family, and he's been working in creating robotics and androids, and it looks like he's able to download his wife's and daughter's memories into androids, and where he's fighting against his boss in the company that supports them. It looks like it could be a very interesting movie. I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan, but for me, Keanu Reeves has his place in movies, and those are the action movies like The Matrix and John Wick. And I don't know if Keanu has the depth of range to pull off this kind of role. Really?
I think he does. I think that the subject of this movie I think he's going to do great things with it. So I know I'm going to see it for sure.
The next trailer we saw was for Jurassic World. Chris Pratt comes back in his role as the game warden at Jurassic Park. I'm a huge fan of the Jurassic Park property. I can't wait to see this movie. This one actually looks like it's going to be far better than the previous one.
I agree with that.
Jeff Goldblum comes back in this one, so I'm pretty excited about seeing this.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the best one yet. I mean, at least through the previews, because I wasn't super impressed after the last one, but I will definitely be at this one.
Yeah, and the CGI on this one looks fantastic. The dinosaurs have just gotten better and better and better. I can't wait.
Probably people from SCAD helped with that.
Absolutely.
I'm going to take on Adrift. I cannot wait to see this. This is about a younger couple that's taking a sailboat that someone else owns, and they're sailing it back to their home, and through a storm and through a series of events. Basically, a young woman has to navigate and take care of it by herself. The two in it, the stars, I adore. The guy, Sam Claflin, he was in Me Before You, and I believe my daughter met him at the SCAD Film Festival. The young woman in there, Miss Woodley. I just love her. She was in the Divergent series. And of course, The Fault in Our Stars. She has such depth to everything she does. So Adrift for me is going to be the best one. We're actually we were invited to the premiere of that, and we will be there within Atlanta, one of the first showings. Yeah,
I'm actually looking forward to this movie. It looks like it's going to be on your seat kind of thrills. Kind of reminds me of, what's the one? A Perfect Storm. It has the same kind of effects with the ocean, big waves, and a sailboat. It's going to be a really good movie. The next trailer was another offering by Disney Pixar, The Incredibles 2. Once again, bringing back a very popular movie in The Incredibles. If you like the Disney Pixar movies, you're gonna really love this one.
Yeah.
And the last one is one I can't wait to see, and that's Solo. If you haven't been living underneath a rock, this one's coming out. It's another one of the one-off movies from the Star Wars universe, and this is going to chronicle the story of Han Solo and Chewbacca.
Looks good.
Yeah, it looks really good. Can't wait to see this. Once again, if you haven't been living underneath a rock, you certainly know about the Avengers movie, and this is the Avengers Infinity War. The Avengers and their allies must be willing to sacrifice all in an attempt to defeat the powerful Thanos before his bullets of devastation and ruin, put an end to the universe. This movie is directed by Anthony Russo and Joe Russo. This is the brother team that brought you both the Captain America movies, The Winter Soldier and Civil War. And it's written by Christopher Markus and Stephen McFeely, and these are also the team that brought you Captain America Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War and the Captain America The First Avengers. And this team is also the team that wrote the Chronicle of Narnia movies. It's a movie got everybody in this other than Ant-Man and the Wasp. You know, it's got Robert Downey Jr., Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Chris Evans, Scarlett Johansson, Don Cheadle, Benedict Cumberbatch, Tim Holland, Chadwick Boseman, Zoe Saldana, and a whole plethora of other actors and actresses. It was a very good movie. It's a long movie.
Yeah, very long. And this was fun for us. We flew to D.C. to spend some time with my sister, brother-in-law, and their incredible 3 young daughters. And they went with us. They're huge movie fans. And we all went to is it Boston?
Boston Commons.
Boston Commons, which is in Arlington, Virginia. And they're in the middle of construction and redoing everything, but it is going to be amazing. The thing for me about Avengers is it's a very, very heavy and deep movie. My niece, who cried for 45 minutes when it was over, that's a great example of sometimes the theme in a movie is just not always appropriate for young kids. So I guess I just want to say that. Tim, I really enjoyed Avengers. I love anything with good over evil, but the fact that I got to see so many different characters from the past, from Black Panther to Spider-Man, I enjoyed that. And make sure you do not leave when the credits start.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not familiar with the Marvel world, they always put a cutaway scene at the end of the credits that leads you into one of the other movies. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, it's about Captain Marvel.
Well, it was, I know that my niece's sister and my brother-in-law, I know they had waited for that movie. So I'm glad we all got to go to that together. Again, it's a heavy duty movie.
Yeah, I really like this movie in the fact that, once again, there's been like 18 Marvel movies in the Avengers universe. They bring everybody together in this movie. I thoroughly enjoyed how they brought in the Guardians of the Galaxy. Those have been some of my favorite Marvel movies. Chris Pratt just does an awesome job, and they brought his humor and mixed it in with Iron Man and Captain America, and it was thoroughly enjoyable. The whole thing, bringing Black Panther was the last movie, and bringing in the Wakanda and the whole series there.
Yeah, that was neat.
They just did a really good job of tying it together. Don't think this is the end, though. It's definitely set up for the Avengers Infinity War Part 2. This movie ends with a lot of questions and definitely is wide open for the sequel. And if they don't make a sequel for it, everybody would be scratching their head saying, what the heck? And yes, Stan Lee does make another cameo in this movie.
Well, I am glad we got to see it. And we also found when we were there another outdoor movie place that was incredible called is it Mosaic? Mosaic. And there's bar tacos, there's all these kinds of restaurants, but the placement of the outdoor movie theater in the middle of that square, I think that you are so lucky if you live in that area to be able to see a movie on the lawn in that square. So go see it.
For me, rating this movie, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I would give this a very powerful, solid 4-star rating.
And I would give it probably, I'm gonna have to say a 3.
Oh, you kill me, April.
I know. I'll do a 3.5, but also
bump it up to 4.
No, I'm gonna give it a 3.5. I did love the cinematography. I loved. They're just. I mean, it's well made. It's just you can tell it took so many people to make that movie. And I could go on and on about a lot of great things, but for me, I'm going to give it a solid 3.5. I also want to do a shout out to the crispy Peruvian chicken there in Arlington, Virginia that we have every time we're there. That made me in a little bit of a better mood.
Well, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you haven't already done so, please go out to hesaidshesAidmovies.com/subscribe and subscribe to the podcast. We'd really appreciate it.
All right, everybody. We appreciate you and thank you for your support, and we'll see you at the movies.
See you at the movies.